here is the homework for tonight, September 11th. You are to do Can Do Calculus. Can Do Calculus on page 79. Question number 1. Question number 1, you are asked to find, here's the question, you're asked to find the sum of the infinite series if it has one, that's if one exists. So the first question, you are summing from n is 1 to infinity, 1 over 2 to the n power. So we're asking you to add from 1 to infinity. Let's generate some terms to find r to see if it converges. If it converges, then you can add from 1 to infinity. So if you let n equal 1, that would be your first term. You have 1 over 2, 2 to the first power, which is a half. If you let n equal 2, you have 1 over 2 squared, which is 1/4. And if you let n equal 3, you get 1/8. So how do you go from 1/2 to 1/4 and 1/4 to 1/8? Your r value is 1/2. If the absolute value of r is less than 1, then it converges. So this is converging, and if it converges, you can find the sum. The sum is a sub 1 over 1 minus r. So the first term, that is your first term, which is 1/2, and your r value happened to be 1/2 also, so 1 minus a half. How do you do this? 1/2 over 1/2, and if you look at any number over itself, is 1. So the answer to this is 1. Number 3. We are asking you to add n equals 1 to infinity, and 0.06 n is your rule. If you were to plug a 1 in here and then a 2, you would find out that the r value is 0.06. Since this is less than 1, this also converges. So if it converges, you do a sub 1 over 1 minus r. Well, the first term is 0.06 if you were to plug in a 1 here. So you get 0.06 over 1 minus 0.06. So you can do this on a calculator if you wanted to. 1 minus 0.06, or if you were not allowed to use a calculator, you would probably turn this into 6 over 100. But you have 0.06 over 0.94, and you get 0.0638, and if you convert this math fraction, you get 3 over 47. That is your answer. Number 5. You are given 500 plus 200 plus 80 plus 32 plus, so you're adding to infinity. So how do you know if it's geometric? Well, what I would do is I would take 200 divided by 500. I would take 80 and divide it by 200. I would take 32 and divide it by 80. Well, let's see, 200 divided by 500 is 0.4. 80 divided by 200 is also 0.4. 32 divided by 80 is 0.4. So since these are all, so to go from 500 to 200, you're multiplying this by 0.4. If this is your R value, that is R, we have a constant ratio. And since it is, the absolute value of this is less than 1, this converges. So your sum is a sub 1 over 1 minus R. Well, your first term is 500. 500 minus 1 minus 0.4. So 500, use your calculator, divided by 1 minus 0.4, and don't forget to use parentheses in your denominator. You get 833.33. Repeating, hit math, fraction, convert this to a fraction, and you get 2,500 over 3. So 800, you can also write this answer in the back of the book as it listed as 833 1/3. And the last question, number 15, it says, if a sub n is an arithmetic sequence with the common difference that's greater than 0, and each term is bigger than 0, explain why this series is not converging. The reason why it's not converging, it's diverging, and that's because as you are summing up these terms, they are increasing in magnitude. Since there are infinitely many terms getting larger and larger, the sum cannot converge to a finite number. So therefore, you can't do this problem. And that is the answer for number 15.